Welcome to another new episode of the Get Organised with Declutter Me podcast with myself, Shalina. I hope you're well wherever you are in the world. Whether this is your first time listening or you've been following along for a while, I'm really happy to have you here. Thank you so much for being part of this journey. It truly means so much to me. Your support allows me to continue to share my love for decluttering and organising every week, and it's a privilege to help you create a more organised and clutter-free space. If you're enjoying this podcast, I'd love for you to spread it around the world. Around the world. Just hit follow, subscribe, or like on your podcast app. Share it with your friends or drop me a review to let me know what you think. Today, we're going to be talking about moving. So whether you're renting a new flat or buying your dream house, moving is such a daunting task. You've got to pack up all your belongings, deal with movers, paperwork, and before you know it, the whole process can feel incredibly overwhelming. But don't worry, today I am going to break it down exactly on how to get organized when preparing for a move. Now, I have done this for 11 years and I've helped a lot of families, single people, couples, just people moving into flat, homes, villas, renovate after renovations. And it's huge. You know, seeing all those boxes is overwhelming, even for me, just looking at it. But there's a way to do it. There's a way to get prepared to make it an easier task. And I want to help you to get to that point. So by the end of the episode, you're going to have like a step-by-step guide on what to do from the moment you know you're moving to the day you're settling into your new space. Now, first things first, before you even think about packing, the most crucial step is to declutter. You know me, I'm all about the decluttering anyway, but it's especially important before a move. Why? Because there's absolutely no point in packing up items that no longer serve you. You're going to be paying to move those items that you don't need or want, wasting time packing them, and then they're just going to sit in your new place collecting dust or staying in a box and then moving to the next place, because that's happened before. So here's the thing, moving is actually a golden opportunity to start fresh. You can walk into your new home with only things that bring value to your life. Think of it like a blank canvas. So start this process from the moment you know you're going to move. Start by going room to room, taking stock of what you have, and ask yourself, do I really need this in my home? When decluttering, create 5 options. So keep, donate, sell, recycle, or throw. Any items that are broken, torn, stained, or just plain horrible should be thrown. Any items which are recyclable, they can go into the recycle bin. Clothes, books, music, DVDs, kitchen supplies, knickknacks, they can go in the donation pile. And if the pile is big enough, you can call big charities to come and pick up the items. You could also sell some things online. Now, I am not a fan of selling online because it's painful. It's painful. Especially if you've got items that are in good nick and you want good value and people don't want to pay for it. But if you have the patience and the time, do it and make a bit of money. You'll be amazed at how much easier your move becomes when you're not lugging around unnecessary items with you. So to do this, do it as a mini declutter. And you know I talk about this every episode practically, but it's the best advice I can give you when decluttering. So you spend 15-20 minutes on a small section. So say in the living room, do a bookshelf, and then you do the next one. And if you've got more time, do the next one. Then the next day, do another part of the living room or do your bedroom. 15-20 minutes of decluttering the items and getting rid of the things and thinking about those 5 categories I told you. Once you've decluttered, you'll have a much clearer idea of what's left to pack, and that will lead me on to my next tip. So we're so lucky in the UAE that we have an abundance of moving companies for a good rate. They come with the boxes, the covers, the tape, the bubble wrap to move the items from one place to another. But if you're packing yourself, these tips are going to help you. So one of the biggest mistakes I see people making is not having the right packing supplies on hand. Trust me, nothing is more frustrating than being halfway through packing a room only to realize you've run out of boxes or tape And tape, you always think you only need about 2 or 3 of them. You don't. You'll need about 10. They go through really, really quickly. So here's a checklist to ensure you're fully prepared. Boxes, of course, and don't underestimate how many you'll need. You can always ask local shops for their spare ones or invest in some sturdy moving boxes. Now, if you're using a moving company, you can ask them to give you some boxes in advance so you can pack away things that are precious to you, sentimental or very personal, so that they don't deal with it. Bubble wrap is also important. That's important for packing items that are fragile or things that they have bits to them that you just want to keep all together and safe. Strong tape is really important, and I've said it already, but don't skimp on cheap tape. That will give you, give up halfway through the move and your stuff will collapse from underneath the boxes. You need the strong brown tape and get loads of them. Labels and markers. So you want to be able to clearly mark what's inside each box and in which room it's going to go into. A box cutter or scissors for when you arrive and need to unpack, and get about 2 or 3 of them because they always seem to disappear. And I have 2 in my bag and they still disappear all the time. Like people just go and help themselves. And so don't buy expensive ones, just buy ones, but good, sturdy, hardy ones to use, which you can put in your back pocket of your jeans on the day of moving. And while we're on the subject of labels, one thing I swear by is color coding boxes by room. So use a different colored marker or label for each room in your new home. So there'll be a kitchen, master bedroom, living room. This makes the whole unloading process so much smoother, because you and the movers will know exactly where everything will go. Now let's talk about removal options. So this depends a lot on the size of your home and how much stuff you have. For a smaller flat or a local move, you might be tempted to do it yourself with a few mates and a rented van. And that can definitely work. But if you don't want that hassle, even me, I have stuff, but I have furniture, so that I'd need movers for the furniture. But I would still use movers. Like I can't be bothered to do it myself. Let them, they can pack it, they can unpack it, and then I'll put it away and organize it. But if you've got a lot to move, or if you're doing a long distance relocation, you definitely have to hire a removal company. So make sure you do your research, get quotes from a few companies, read reviews, and check that they're insured. That is very important, especially when you're doing relocation, like from different countries. It's also worth asking whether they offer packing services. So I know some people prefer to have professionals pack their items, especially for delicate or bulky items like furniture or artwork, or they prefer to do it themselves. So in certain countries like America and the UK, you have to pack it yourself and they just move it for you. Whereas in the UAE, they'll do everything for you. So check to see what options they have and what's the best quote for you. Also check if they assist with hanging things like your curtains, your frames, your mirrors, putting up the TV as well, and assembling furniture. They might charge extra for that, but it's worth it because it gets all done at the same time, and then you don't have to bother getting a handyman to come in as well. It can be bedlam with so many people in the house at the same time, so if you can reduce the amount of people coming in and doing the jobs, that's good. So once your decluttering is done and you've got your packing supplies, it's time to create a plan. I cannot stress enough how much easier moving becomes when you've got a clear plan in place. So create a moving checklist, and you can download a lot of them from online, and write down everything that needs to be done between now and moving day. Let's break it down into smaller tasks. Things like setting up utilities at your new place, informing your bank or your doctor of your new address, and of course booking that removal company. Then give yourself a timeline. I recommend starting to pack at least 2 weeks before the moving date. You can begin with items that you don't use daily, seasonal clothes, books, decorative pieces, etc. The key is to pack gradually so you're not rushing and overwhelmed as moving day approaches. Now, if you've got people coming in to do the packing for you, just sort out packing your important documents, your personal documents, and things that you don't want them to touch or deal with. Another great idea is to pack first night box or suitcase. This should include all the essentials you'll need the day you move in. So think toiletries, toothbrush, change of clothes, basic kitchen items like a kettle for that first cuppa, bedding, and any important documents. Also do your underwear for a few days. So do your underwear for the last 2 days when you're at home and the next few days when you're unpacking, because you might not be able to get to all of it at the same time. So think of it as packing for a holiday, but it's not a holiday. It's moving to your new house. Here's another little trick that can save you a lot of hassle. Before you unplug any electronics, take a photo of the wiring setup. It's so easy to forget where all the wires go, and in this way, you're setting up your TV or computer in a new place. You've got a reference. You will thank me later. Another aspect of moving that often gets overlooked is organizing your documents. So make sure all your important paperwork is in one place. Things like your rental agreement, your mortgage documents, your insurance policies, and any paperwork related to the move itself, such as contracts with the removal company. If you have it in digital form, put it all into a folder so that you can easily access it, even if you're not on Wi-Fi. With the documents, the paper documents, I recommend keeping these all in a dedicated folder that you can easily access during the move. You never know when you might need to reference something, and the last thing you want to do is lose track of the important paperwork in the chaos of moving. So put that in your holiday suitcase, as we're calling it. Finally, let's talk about moving day itself. By now, most of your hard work is done, but there are a few last-minute things to keep in mind. Before the removal team arrives, do a final sweep of your old home. Open all the cupboards, drawers, and wardrobes to make sure you haven't forgotten anything. Now, if you're using a removal company, of course, do this before you leave the house and lock up. If you're renting, now's the time to take photos of the property to ensure you get your full deposit back. Put your suitcase or box of personal items for the first night in your car, or ask the movers to put it in last into the truck and first out into your bedroom. Once everything is loaded into the van, take a deep breath. You're nearly there. And when you arrive at your new home, don't stress about unpacking everything all at once. Start with the essentials and give yourself a few days to get everything in place. So usually I would recommend starting with your bedroom and the kitchen. You can do the living room areas later. You don't need the books straight away on the bookshelves. You need to sort out your food and your sleeping arrangements and your clothes. Now, if it's a lot of stuff, I highly recommend you get an organizer to come in. So when I work with clients who have done a move-in, I come in with my assistants and we get on with it into the different rooms and sort out the main rooms first. And then if we have time, do the other rooms. And it makes you have that kind of weight lifted off you because you're already dealing with the movers and you're at the old house dealing with them and locking up. So the movers can come over to the new house with the boxes and the organizer starts unpacking and putting things away. So by the end of the day, there should be a lot of the boxes removed and a lot of the things put away. It's really helpful and it takes the weight off your shoulders if you get an organizer. So I highly recommend it. I've done it for so many clients and I know it's an added cost, which, you have to think about as well. But if you are thinking of moving, think about that cost to add on to your moving costs because it can release that tension and feeling of overwhelmness. And that's it. Moving doesn't have to be a stressful experience. With a little bit of planning, a dash of organizing, and a healthy dose of decluttering, you can make the whole process so much smoother. I hope you found today's episode really helpful. If you're in the process of moving or planning to move soon, remember to take it one step at a time. And if you need help with decluttering and organizing for your move, feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to help. Thanks for tuning in today. And as always, if you like the episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a little review. I'll catch you next time for another episode of the Get Organised with Declutter Me podcast. Until then, thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.